and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. So, as any of you who've watched any of our previous videos will know, we are now in colour. So I'm pretty new to YouTube. I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I made the decision to start a channel a little while ago. And I wanted to see how I got on doing it, and so I'm enjoying it and stuff, so I decided that I would change rooms, have a purpose-built studio room where I can kind of control the environment a bit better. And here we are. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about, for a second time, about the Boss MS3. It's just a brilliant piece of kit. As in my last video, I talked about how I use it in a function wedding band context, and principally I rely on 4 sounds in that: clean, dirty, heavy, and lead sound. But it does that really, really well. But what I want to talk to you about tonight is I also use it in my originals band. Now, in my originals band, I play in an alternative rock band called Kampala, where we play pretty dark sounding, kind of moody rock, I guess. And for that, I use a quite large pedal board, which I'll put a picture of up now. And on that, as you can see, I have a ES8, a Boss ES8, which I use to control the TC Electronic Flashback X4, a Line 6 M5, TC Sub and Up, TC Hall of Fame Mini, and I use all those pedals, so yeah, pretty much the maximum of their capacity. Oh, and a Sound Blocks Distortion Pro distortion modeler, which I use for fuzzes, muffs, rats, and like a Marshall style overdrive. So there's a lot going on that board, and I use that board at rehearsals and when writing all the stuff. I get some pretty complex sounds, and more to the point, I get a lot of quite complex sound changes from it. Like, so you can have hit one switch and change a multitude of things. Now, that board is on, as you can see, it was on a Pedal Train 3, which is quite a large, heavy pedal board, and it also takes 2 bricks of power supplies to supply it. So it's a big, cumbersome, heavy thing in a big, cumbersome, heavy case. And I wanted to be able to get a board that would, all these gigs are house amps, so I never bring in an amp with me. I wanted to get a board that I could just throw into a small gig bag along with my guitar on my shoulder, go to that gig, maybe even have a beer, and then get to train home again with relative ease. So yeah, I'm going to bring you through some sounds that I use and show you how flexible, not just for your kind of standard clean and dirty sounds, maybe lead sound here and there, it can do a lot of stuff, and it can do pretty well. So let's get to it. So it makes sense to start at the beginning, I suppose. So this is the first song in Kampala's set. It's called Perfect, and in this I principally use the amp turbo as my main source of distortion. So it's kind of like an indie song, as opposed, it's probably our most indie song, as opposed to like dark rock. This is the main opening riff. So as you can see, there's a pretty big delay, big reverb, and the amp turbo. Then, quite similar to the covers board, comes to the chorus part. I hit the current number switch, in this case 1, and we play the lead part in the chorus. It just brings in the clone, so that's pretty straightforward. Then, when we come to the end of the song, in the outro, there's this passage where I need a rotary effect. And it goes like this. So yeah, it goes from this, this... So you can see with one switch I'm changing from the amp turbo and some reverb and the clone to what is now just the clone and the dark matter actually. Sorry, there's no clone, just the dark matter and a rotary sound and some delay. And then at the very, very end of the song, when that passage is over, so it goes, comes into this big outro. I hit the current number switch again, and it turns off the rotary and turns on the clone. We get this. Again, one switch does a lot, and it all sounds really, really good. And again, I think part of the reason it sounds so good is because I'm leaning on analog drive pedals that are being brought in and out of the circuit. So that's the first song. I'm going to move on to a more moody, less overdriven song now. So just before I get into this next tune, I've just checked my tuning there in between these two songs, and just wanted to mention the tuner on the MS3. So I don't have an outboard tuner, as you can see on this board, and I don't need one because the tuner is really, really bright and easy to read. It's accurate. We tune actually in Kampala to E flat, so when I play in what is a down tune D, it's actually a C sharp. It manages a C sharp no problem. And yeah, it's accurate. You can see it. It works great. So anyway, for this next song, it's a song called Lonely Lives. It's clean, and it uses a modulated delay. So I have a spring reverb, and then you can hear that there before the delay comes in, and a modulated delay, and it goes like this. You can hear it's like a digital delay with modulation. The modulation is very, very pleasant sounding. And it works really well. And the spring reverb, really springy. And actually, sometimes as you play on that sound, these weird sort of artifacts, springy artifacts, sometimes come in. It's real random. And it's a knob I've turned up, or a setting I've turned up on that delay, because I want that. It gives the whole thing more character. So in the chorus of that song, I hit the current switch again, and it brings in the clone, which gives me a lovely mid boost for this picked line in the chorus. Forgot to mention actually there's a compressor on there as well, which you can really hear sustaining those notes and taking away the initial pick attack, which works well in that context. You kind of get piano like. I really, really like the way it does that. So then it comes to the midsection of that song, and we bring in a phaser, and if I was running in stereo, the delay goes into stereo. There's a different delay on each side, but it sounds like this. Yeah, so just the phaser is beautiful. It works really, really well. And again, one switch and it's there and it's easy to do. So this next song is called You, and it starts off with a really simple dotted 8 delay pattern that just goes. So you can see as well that the the BPM is outputting delay at the perfect time. There's a drum sample that goes just with a vocal during that part. So then when the band comes in, I switch to basically the same thing, but with chords and with a really strong and again perfectly in time tremolo. So it goes. And so that's the tremolo's coming off the MS3, the delay's coming off the MS3, the reverb's coming off the MS3, and it's using the amp turbo pedal for that little bit of drive. So then we come into the next part of the song. So after that tremolo pattern, it comes into this really huge riff. So at this point I have L1 or loop 1 on, which has the Mosky Big Muff clone and the Mosky Clone clone, so the silver and black pedals. And that riff sounds like this. So that's the muff, the clone, a delay and a reverb off the MS3. And again, I can go from that tremolo sound with one switch, completely changes everything, brings pedals in, pedals out, changes, gets rid of the tremolo. It's just really powerful to be able to do that, and as I was trying to point out at the beginning of the video, it can do it with unusual effects and stuff as well. So with the unusual effects kind of theme in mind, the last song I'm going to go through is a song called Home Away From Home. So I'm just going to move to that patch now. So in this song Home Away From Home, the first sound that I use is just this really simple, clean sort of picked pattern, this kind of pan muted picked pattern. And for this I'm just using a compressor and a reverb off the MS3, but the reverb is quite big, and also to allow the pick to come through there's a pre-delay on, so it kind of swells in after the fact. And this is just no pedals at all, just hit the compressor and the reverb and it goes. That goes for the whole of the first verse, and then when the band kicks into the chorus, we actually go on to this faux 12 string sound. So there's a big reverb, again with a bit of delay after the fact, and it has a pitch shifter doing a 50% blend of 1 octave up to kind of try and simulate a 12 string, and it sounds like this. So it doesn't sound like 12 string, I get that, but it's got that low sort of almost Quentin Tarantino-ish kind of. And when I recorded it, I didn't have a 12 string to hand either, so what I actually did was I recorded the part twice, once in the low register and then once with a cap on the 12th fret, playing the exact same thing an octave up, and it really did kind of create the 12 string sound. So yeah, it allows me just with one switch to bring in the octave and to bring in this clone, which I think, you know, it has a real impact on the song. It impacts the mood of the song and does that task really, really well. So quite happy with it. So then when we go to patch 4, it brings in the really heavy part to this song, which sounds like this. So it starts off the first half going. And that is an actual fuzz face off of the MS3, and L2, which is this Mosky amp turbo, so my main sort of mid overdrive sound, and the fuzz is pushing into the amp turbo to give a kind of nasty sound, for want of a better word. And again, I think that this pedal does that really, really, really well. So yeah, I think they're the four songs I wanted to cover off, where I think the MS3's switching ability combined with the outboard pedals and the acceptable quality. And I'll speak about that for a second, right? So on my main board, which I showed you a picture of earlier, I use TC Electronic for all my delays. I have the Line 6 M5 to do all sorts of like octave or modulation or big reverbs that are separate to the actual TC Electronic Hall of Fame Mini, which I use for just a regular spring reverb that I bend down and just turn the one knob to increase the blend and intensity of that reverb should I want more or less. But if I want a hall or cavern reverb or something like that, or even an octo reverb, I can use that off the M5 programmer per patch with the ES8. And I spend a lot of time tweaking those sounds to get them where they want, because it has that capability. And also the TC Electronic Flashback X4. TC Electronic's delay algorithms have loads of character. Like, their modulated delays are really rich and kind of instantly inspiring and grabbing, and that's why I really love TC Electronics. I've always loved their modulation effects and delay effects. They're really, really good. The Boss effects simply aren't at the same caliber. I will comment on the compressor in this unit being particularly good, but other than that, they just aren't at the same caliber. However, they are 85 to 90% there, and they're perfectly acceptable for a gigging situation where you are one band on a 6 band per night bill, and you can travel up on the train with one guitar in a gig bag and this small pedal board in a bag over your shoulder. I think it does an amazing job in a small package, in a really portable, light, easy to use, easy to rig up, and also very easy to understand and program, and filled with functionality that I think is way beyond what its price tag and size would lead you to expect it can do. So I have to say, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal unit. I've been blown away by it, and I actually discover new stuff about it every time I sit down to try and program a new sound. So I'm being really, really impressed with it. So if you have cause to put a small pedal board together as maybe an alternative to your main rig, you could even put like a amp simulation solution of some sort, like an atomic amplifier or something on this board, and use it direct if you wanted, still with all your outboard pedals. I think the Boss MS3 is a must if you're going to check out some sort of small gigging solution, like as an alternative, say, to the HX effects, or maybe the new small pod. This combined with outboard distortion pedals, compressors, gain pedals is what I would use in the loops, because you've only got 3 loops, so you've got to use them pretty carefully. This is a brilliant product and a brilliant solution to a gigging musician, and I think it's something that should be really considered. So yeah, that's the Boss MS3, using slightly more original, and I suppose asking more of it with these sounds than in the original video I did, which was about my covers band. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. Leave a comment, tell me what you think. I've been Rob, you've been watching The Guitar Effect, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.